in vertebral compression on the same side. Makes sense, right? I'm compressing the vertebrae on the same side I'm bending to. For rotation, it results in vertebral compression on the same side. Side bending and rotation occur in the same direction, okay? This is all written in your lab too. I wrote this down. This one you guys might want to write down, or maybe next time when you guys actually can print out the lab and bring it in, I can tell you this again. Sacral mobility with lumbar mobility. Tim kind of covered this a little bit. Basically, if you have extension of the spine, you're going to get an anterior pelvic tilt. And with flexion of the spine, you're going to get a posterior pelvic tilt. With that sacrum, when it goes into that like mutated position, that's going to be lumbar extension. When it goes into counter nutation, or that apex, the apex is technically like, if you look at the triangle, so it's actually the bottom of it. We always think of apex as tops, but the apex is technically the bottom of it. The apex will do counter nutation, so it moves more anterior, so the base is going to tip posterior. Okay? And that counter nutation occurs with lumbar flexion. So the base moves into extension, the apex moves into flexion.
Is that something that you've added?
That's something I've added,
It's only
yeah.
on your sheet right now?
Yeah.
Can you say it one more time?
Yeah,
Okay.
and where to?
What you said.
So this
Extension, this is the sacral mobility with lumbar mobility.
Okay.
Sacral lumbar.
Sacral mobility with lumbar mobility. So with extension of the spine, we're going to get an anterior pelvic tilt.
Extension, right?
Extension of the spine, that's the lumbar spine, yep. Or with lumbar extension, that's also going to be mutation.
So anterior pelvic tilt and nutation.
Yes. So anterior pelvic tilt is technically mutation. So then the opposite would be true. So flexion of the spine or posterior pelvic tilt would be counternutation. And that basically, so if you want a definition of nutation, nutation is where the apex moves posterior, or the base, which is the top of it, the flat part, moves anterior. Okay? The base will move into flexion, and the apex will move into extension. Then with spinal lateral flexion to the left, your pelvis tilts to the left as well. So if you have spinal lateral flexion, that's side flexion, your pelvis also tilts to the left.
Where we have it?
With left rotation, the pelvis also rotates left. Okay?
You kind of lost.
Yeah.
Where to put this? Where to put this?
This is not on there. This is sacral mobility with lumbar mobility. So do you guys want to know how the sacrum moves in relationship to the lumbar spine?
I don't know.
So once again, I think once you guys can print the lab out and maybe bring it for next time, we're going to cover lab next time, I can go through this again.
So it's going to be on.
Okay?
Alright.
So,
This will not be written in, well, I can probably put it in.
Okay,
It will not be written in there currently, it's not in there, you have to write it in. But you guys will have sacral mobility with lumbar mobility. You can write it in.
I think we all have the lab.
Do you all have a lab?
Yeah.
this one?
We've got lab, but we didn't get the information that we've got.
The lumbar spine lab?
Right, Tim?
I handed lumbar spine lab out.
Oh, you did? Okay, yep.
No, it's.
Yeah, so underneath it says like observational lumbar biomechanics, lumbar flexion, extension, side bending, rotation, sacral mobility with lumbar mobility, so it's under the rotation. This is, I'm telling you, what the sacrum does in relationship to the lumbar spine. Okay? But it's not written on there, it's not typed on there, you guys have to just write it on there. So you all have that with extension of the spine, it does anterior pelvic tilt, right? Everybody got all that? Now I'm also telling you that with lateral flexion of the spine, the pelvis also tilts to the left. And then with left rotation of the spine, the pelvis also rotates to the left. So they're the same, okay?
That's